What is up, internet? It is I again, that guy again, an absolute madman because I'm making a second video in the same day. But we're gonna show off how you would hack like rooms and stuff, right? Because so like we're in a room right now, right? A room that's in a world, and for some rooms there's different scenes or different states that can happen depending on things going on in the story, right? And you also, like when you enter this room, right? You can enter from this warp or from this warp. So there's like 4 distinct values we would look for here, right? Now, start dropping shit again. So one thing we're going to remember to do is change the scan options to Kingdom Hearts Final Mix.exe. That's very important for what we're about to do, because we're going to scan for an unknown initial value, right? Cool, we found 5 million of them. Now, because there's so many, we're going to want to go and scan for a changed value first. Don't scan for unchanged when you have like 5 million, because you will use a lot of disk space. So we're going to search for changed value. Cool, so we have way less, right? Now we can look for unchanged values. And since that was so like vast of a difference, that went from 300 and something thousand, like 285,000, we're just going to make it repeat for a minute. And sometimes I like to even like, let's take the repeat off. Let's change something about how we enter the room or something, right? Let's like go over here, and then we'll say it's an unchanged value, because we're in the same room, right? Alright, that narrowed it down. So now we're going to take it further. We're going to walk into here, and then we're going to come right back out. So it's the same room, different warp that we're coming through. Next scan. That didn't do shit. That's fine. We'll go into the secret place, and now we'll scan for a changed value. Now there's 8,000. That's like way better. Okay, 4,000. And it's really just about looking for patterns like this, right? Some of these values are gigantic. There's no way it's something that high, we would think. I guess we never officially know per se, right? But let's say, let's go back out here. Then let's go for a changed value. Didn't really do a whole bunch. Let's look at the kind of values we're getting here. I would say it's fair to say that our value is less than 1,000, right? Smaller than 1,000. That narrowed it down a bunch. Okay, cool. So, probably smaller than 100. There's not 100 rooms in this world. Seeing a lot of zeros. I think we started from the seaside shack in here. I think. So now what we can do is we can say, let's say changed value, because it's changed from where we were a minute ago, right? Now we'll say unchanged value compared to first scan. Alright, cool. So now these values were all the same in the first scan, basically, compared to now. And so we start changing stuff. I mean, we got 245 addresses here. I kind of want to try the first one here because it looks interesting, right? Like 0. This makes sense to be 0 because it's like the first room. That's our room ID, right? Because as I change it, notice Seaside Shack, Cove. So that's actually the room ID for the currently loaded room. And so you would think, right, like let's just lock this to 0 and like walk through a door and see what happens, right? It didn't do anything. Everything's the same. I mean, maybe a little different, actually. Oh, no, actually, it did let us in the room we were aiming to load in. That's cool. I do know there's some quirks with this though, right? Like let's say we want to go to room 2, which I don't know what that is. It's Cove. Okay. And we try to walk through this warp. I don't think it'll work. Yeah, it didn't work. It just took us where we were supposed to go. Kind of, sort of, maybe, not really. Let's unfuck this for a second. So we've broken something. We've definitely broken something here. Something's not right, y'all. And I don't like when things aren't right because it usually means that we gotta like restart the game some way or another. Which is kind of a bitch with this game if I'm being honest. Like there's nothing going on out here, there's nobody out here. We've kind of bricked ourselves. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna restart and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back and we have unfucked the game. That was a mess. Oh goodness, my controller's disconnected. Okay, there we go. So now that we're back, now that we're able to do things again and use the warps, let's do something new. Let's right click on room ID and let's say, find out what writes to this address, right? We're wondering how does it get that room ID? How do we exactly come to the conclusion of this is the room we need to load into, right? So now we're going to walk in through the thing, and here's some assembly code that represents what just happened to set room ID to 0. So we're going to show the disassembler on this. It's going to look like a straight mess, but that's okay. So the important thing to note here, so like we mentioned earlier, right, this is the process name, and this is the hexadecimal value, the offset at which some memory is stored, right? In this case, OEC4, that's our room ID value, right? So it's moving. Now, this is where it's going to get kind of limited. I can't teach like straight up assembly code from scratch here because it's like I'm high as shit and assembly code's kind of involved if I'm being honest, right? But I can tell you some basics, right? So like EDX here, that's a register. So it's like a area on the processor that it uses to store memory, right? Like you can move memory from an area in memory to an area in the processor, like a register, right? But you can't move it directly from memory to memory. So you got to go from memory to register and then do stuff to it in the register and then back to memory, right? So in this case, let's see what they're doing exactly. So they're taking the value that's in the EDX register and they're putting it into the world or the room ID. The way they're getting that, we're actually going to have to use a breakpoint because I want to see what it's doing. Set breakpoint, and then we're going to walk through the door again. It's going to break, which means it's going to pause for us here on this exact line of code, and we can actually see what these registers are, right? So in this case, RDX is 140, and RAX is this BCOO dealio. If you just click it, it'll give you the option to type in something or copy it. So this is like the base of something. We don't know what yet. Or I'm going to delete this because I've already put that into my code that I'm implementing for this. Alrighty, so 140. So before this, we see that they're actually multiplying, they're doing what we call a shift left by 6 on, or 6 bits on the RDX register, which basically means that it's multiplying it by 2 to the power of 6, right? Honestly, what we could do, let me see. Where does it get RDX before this? Somewhere deeper in the matrix. Let's go back. We're actually going to put, so this is the start of the function, and you can tell because there's these int3 instructions before, and int3 doesn't really do anything, right? So we're going to just run, so we can just come back out here. Alright, so what we're going to do now, we're just going to scoot along through the function. There's this E900 memory region that's put into the A register. That's actually where they get that BCOO thing from. Let me see. So you'll notice, right, when you're actually going in here like this, it's not going to want to give you the offset. You got to get creative, right? So I like copying the last 4 and just remembering the offset, or the first 3 of the offset, right? Like 232. There we go. All right, cool. So now we see that ECX gets moved into RDX. In this case, it's 0. And then it's moved into some E908 register. This is moved into ECX. It's 1. Not sure what that is yet, but that's okay. RDX gets shifted. It's nothing. And then, so BC00. So it's basically saying that like the information at BC00 is where it pulls from, and there's zeros there, right? Earlier it was plus 140, right? Plus 140, and that they have 1 at. So theoretically, right? If we were to go back, here and we were to put a 1 here, right? And we just run it, it's gonna break because now this warp technically ties us to inside. Hope it's gonna hit the breakpoint again. It's gonna hit where it's not supposed to hit, and we're fucking some shit up. But we can fix it. We can just go back and set it to 0. And now this warp entry properly warps us to where we need to go. So surely 140. 140. 1 sec. We gotta get the good old calculator out. Because it's like 140 hex, I want to say. Let's do a shift right 6 5. So maybe that's warp 5. Maybe that's what that is. Maybe. Hold up. We gotta get deeper in this. We gotta live this shit. We gotta breathe this shit. Oh fuck, my controller's disconnecting again and causing issues with the frame rate for some reason. This game does not like when your controller disconnects. Alright, we've hit our breakpoint. We're gonna tippy toe on through here. It's gonna put BC 100 in there. It's gonna move ECX to RDX. Oh no, I'm reading it backwards. It's moving RDX to ECX. So 5. That must be, and then it's putting that E908 address, that 232 E908. Okay, I'm liking this so far. So I know I'm gonna need 232 E908. So I'm just gonna copy all that and cancel my changes so it doesn't actually save them. I think this is the warp ID, y'all. So it's like 5 here. We're gonna put warp ID here for right now. And then we're gonna mess around with it. So like theoretically it's 5 here, right? 0 and 0. Okay, that makes sense. But if it's a warp ID, then it should be different when you come at it through the top here. And it is 6, which makes sense because this is 5. Okay, so theoretically, right, it figures out what room and where to place ore based entirely off warp ID, right? Oh god. It worked, kind of. It worked, kind of, but I want to fix that. Oh goodness. So like, it kind of sort of loaded the right thing, it kind of sort of didn't, and that's okay. That's all fine and dandy. So, we know the room ID, we know the warp ID. We don't know world ID yet or any of those fun things, but we could probably figure them out, right? Because we know we're on, we know we're on world 1. So if we browse the area of memory near the room ID, right, there's a 1 right here. And I'm honestly just kind of curious, like if we pause it, right, and we go to like type in 2, that's not it because it didn't change the name of the area that we're in. And seemingly it would change that. Fuck, where did that 1 go? Sorry, I'm gonna have to fix that in post. Yeah, sometimes I just be like, what am I staring at? And I was looking at it, and then that 1 went away. But that's okay, Because what we can do, let's go and look at the... Oh goodness, what are with these graphical errors? Is it because of the game? Okay, let me try this. Go away and come back. There we go. Okay, pro hacker. Okay, so when we're going through here, I mean, it does move this into this E5C. Is that what we pulled? Let's take a look. See, actually, you know what? Maybe there's an easier way. Maybe we can just like go to no. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So, because I want to add it to the list. I already showed you guys the easy way, but it's like, is this the easy way or is this just more of a hassle? So we're going to just assume it's the world ID and put it in there. And then the so to speak easy way is to go in here and say, like, recalculate new addresses, change by offset 0. Now I think, I mean, theoretically this should be it because it's in the related code. It is. Because now if we go to 3, it's going to be some shit in Traverse Town. First district, baby. Now, you would think, right? You would think, let's just lock these values here, right? And let's just walk into some room and then we're in Traverse Town, right? Like, it's not that easy, usually. Maybe it'll work. Sometimes it do. We might have to write our own warp code. Bro, you're joking. We just whopped up in that bitch. Okay. Just like that, too. The light on my controller is not lighting up anymore and it makes me feel scared. We also can see that it definitely did not load things properly here in any capacity. We're actually gonna real quick, like, we're gonna unlock some of these values before we start doing shit. And let's try to walk in. Is that a door that says first district? We're in the first district. Okay. Alright, cool, we fixed it. However, alright, now it's just gonna hit cutscene. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. And you can actually see the values for warp ID and world ID and that shit changing as we're going through. So we actually just skipped Destiny Islands. There's one more value that we're missing here. There's one more important value, and that's the scene, which tells it like what type of, like, that's why we're not fighting Leon in First District right now, right? When we could be. Let's look and see what some of these other values are that we don't have. We have EC4. And it calls some shit there. Do we have EC8? Interesting, EC8. So it's literally one over here. I'm gonna assume that it's, so we're gonna find room in the description, right? We're gonna replace that with scene, so it'll say scene ID instead of room ID, right? Just addressed by 4. There we go. So scene ID 2. Theoretically, right? We don't know if that's right. Alright, so we're gonna go in here. Still scene ID 2. Could be valid, could be weird. But we know. Yeah, we're just gonna skip through all the Sid dialogue. That's great, Gramps, thanks. Come on, come on. Alright, so let's try this, right? Let's postulate that if this is scene ID and we change it to something other than 2, which is what it was just now, it should do something different, right? We'll set it to 3. Alright, cool. We found scene ID.
Who are you?
And they'll keep on coming at you, as long as you continue to wield the Keyblade.
Controller disconnect causing lag is one of the best things. Fuck, it disconnected again. Don't let me die to fucking Leon, bro. Come on. I gotta get a better USB-C port. So actually, while we're here, right? So Leon has health. He absolutely does have health. We don't know what his health is. It's reasonable to assume it's held within a byte. We're gonna say unknown initial value, right? First scan that shit. Find 27 million possible values, right? We're gonna walk around, not change his health at all. And we're gonna say unchanged value, right? Alright, didn't do shit. So we're gonna attack him once. We're gonna pause, but it's not gonna fucking work because my controller always disconnects at the worst time. Awesome. Okay, so now it's changed, right? So we're gonna actually say decreased value because it's gone down. Now we're down to 31,000 values. Very nice, very nice. So now, bro, he parried me and caused my disconnect, or my controller to disconnect, and then my brain to lag, so I said the wrong thing. Alright, maybe we're not going to find this value here. Although, admittedly, it is pretty low. This 6 stands out to me here. This 4 does too, because I hit him like 2 or 3 times. Alright, it's not that one. We're just gonna sit here and change 5,000 values until... No, I'm just kidding. We're not doing that shit. Actually, maybe we could do some shit like this. Let's delete this record. It's not what we want. Repeat. Alright, that's not doing shit for us. So we're gonna run over here. Dodge a fireball. Surely that's changed some shit. Maybe it's this one. Nope. Alright, I might just accept that this time of fighting Leon, that we're not gonna get the thing, but that's okay. We started too late in the fight to start tracking his health. We'll come back to that later. We'll come back to that at some other time.
No way. I can lose.
Beat him with the wood sword. I ain't even got the keyblade yet. I ain't even seen Riku. That terrified me moderately. The one time my controller does not want to disconnect. And yeah, you'll notice now world ID is 15, right? And there's a reason for that. It's because we're in a cutscene that takes us to another world. Hollow Bastion. Very spooky.
Come on,
Man, the cutscene skip game is wild. Cutscene skip is almost its own mini game in this game. But anyway, y'all, that's some more hacking how-to for you. I'll probably maybe do some more tomorrow. I'll see. It's just finding time, and that's like the shortest commodity these days. But I appreciate y'all's time in that matter, and hope you guys have a good one. See ya.